So hiya folks, you're very welcome back to this week's episode of John's Garage. As you can see, we are back with Project MR2. Now, there's only the tiniest update on this. I haven't had an opportunity to do anything with it. Literally, this tire is still even off over here. Never got a chance to put it back on. But one thing a viewer did draw my attention to over here was when I said that the axle stand sunk into the car a little bit. It was actually into possibly one of the chassis rails. So we're going to have to investigate that a little bit further before I even consider doing anything else with this car. So that could be a major problem. Now, what I did reference in that video when I was talking about this particular car in front of you right now was this car. Now, this was an ongoing project of mine during the year, and I hadn't actually filmed it yet, but I had mentioned it a couple of different places on the likes of Twitter and Instagram and a few different areas. So what I had been doing was I was getting it through the NCT. So it actually got a fresh NCT. I also rebuilt the brakes all around, so new discs, calipers, pads, all that kind of stuff. So that was done everywhere. And yeah, things were going well, but I did notice there was just a misfire in it, which I wasn't really sure of what it was. And I hadn't quite gotten to investigating it yet. But what I didn't know, and what happened was, the day I finished up rebuilding the brakes, so it had passed the NCT at that point, I was driving it into town. And sorry folks, my voice is sounding a little bit off. I'm suffering badly with hay fever at the minute. But anyway, I was driving it back into town after getting the brakes rebuilt. I was going to give it a polish. I was going to film it. And the light is probably rubbish right now in the camera, but I was going to film it and make a little video for you for YouTube. And unfortunately, as I was going into town, there's a notorious coolant pipe that goes from the rear of the car up over the fuel tank, between the fuel tank, the driver's seat, and up to the front radiator. And unfortunately, that decided it had had enough of holding coolant, and it burst, and it dumped all the coolant. The gauge, I don't know what happened. The needle didn't rise, didn't show it was boiling, but we basically blew the head gasket. And I don't know, I'm not 100%, the engine is still running, but I managed to actually pick up a good used engine in the meantime. So I do have a good used engine to go into this car, which is great. But this car, and I'm not sure if I said it anywhere, but this car has the rather nice automatic gearbox. Now, for those of you who know me, I'm a little bit tongue-in-cheek about that. It's not a bad gearbox. It's grand. It does what you want of an auto box from the late 80s, early 90s. Traditional Japanese fare, but it's just a bit slow. It's a bit old-fashioned. I don't particularly think it suits the car, other than to make the car a relaxed cruiser. So my intention was, I was going to swap that gearbox out for a manual, but I have a problem in the back of my mind. Well, it's not a problem, but it's a fear I have in the back of my mind. I'm hoping somebody here watching this will be able to let me know their thoughts on it. So those of you outside of Ireland, the following isn't going to make sense. Those of you in Ireland are going to nod your head and say, oh Christ, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Basically, my fear is, if I swap out that automatic and fit a manual, potentially from this MR2, which has a manual gearbox and has everything to go with it. So if I fitted the manual gearbox over and put it into the nice black car, that's pretty respectable, would I be able to insure this car? Or would it fall in under modified or highly modified, as the insurers in Ireland like to make out, and sports car and Japanese, and all those different reasons to why this car shouldn't be insured? So that's my question for you. If I make that swap, has anybody done it before? Are you able to get insurance? Just normal, regular, classic car insurance, or do they use it as an excuse to get out of insuring the car for you in its entirety? So that's a big fear I have. Now, I'm still not 100% writing off that car. I probably should. I probably shouldn't think about it, but I just want to get in a little bit further, poke around. My big question is does the engine start and run? That's basically my big question. And this particular Toyota, once I have it in the shed and parked up safely out of the way, is going to give me the answers I need. So I'm going to take some of the fuses from this, put it into the, I don't know, is it blue, is it green, MR2, and see if it starts. Basically, that's it. That's going to have to be a video for another day. I'm afraid I don't have a huge amount of time with me today, and I'm as sick as a dog with hay fever, and being in the middle of the countryside ain't helping that one bit. But other than that, does this car run right now? Yeah, it drove up here. Does it run great? Absolutely not. It's effectively running occasionally on four cylinders, sometimes on 3. There's no coolant in it either, so I have to be very gentle and just get it up here. But as I said, I've pretty much written off the engine that's in it. There is a few different bits and pieces that need to be improved upon. Everything to make this car, the black one, excellent is in the other car, so that's not a huge fear. It's just a case of, is it the right thing to do to pursue building 2 cars? Just get this car out of the way, and so on and so forth. So I'm just not 100% sure. I'm just modifying the gearbox. Swapping the gearbox has just got a fear in the back of my mind that I'm going to end up with something that is uninsurable and I can't drive here in Ireland. So be it. I'm not going to rant about the insurance companies, but go away, Mr. B. That's just the way things are here at the minute. It's impossible to insure cars, especially as they get older, and especially if they have something done that they didn't leave the factory with. In terms of the black MR2, what's the condition of it like? Well, we got these cookie lights, I think they're called. We got a little set of them. They're pretty nice. Not original to the car actually, but they're nice. There's no major rust to speak of. I've been in underneath this car. It's not 100% clean, but there's no major rust. What there is some jackass lifted it incorrectly and basically bent the sills. That's the same on both sides, but that's not a huge issue. I do have new sills to go on it. I've managed to pick up a pair of sills, but that's it. There's no rust. It's grand, it's fine. Seals around the target top aren't 100%, but they're okay. I'm able to seal them up, so that's fine. Alloys are fine. Everything's good in it. Sorry if the camera angles are appearing a little bit bad today, folks. For some reason, it's very hard to see the screen on the camera I'm using to record. But that's it. It runs like a pig, but that can be fixed. The gearbox is meh, it's fine. It's an auto. It's just the insurance question is all I'm worried about. Other things that are preventing me from doing just a full-on project and a straightforward project. My job may be gone imminently, so that's a bit of a worry, obviously, so that creates a financial question. And in terms of tools, jacks, lifts, all that kind of stuff, well, yeah, I don't really have any of that stuff. Nor skills, actually, funnily enough. So yeah, I got the full package here. If I wanted to work in either of these cars, I got nothing, but let me know what you think. Maybe we'll take a risk. Maybe we'll take a risk. The black one is definitely going back on the road. The question with that one is it going back on it automatic or manual? Who knows? This one, question marks. I'd like to keep it. I'd like to get it back on the road, but I'd also like to be sane and married. So who knows? Let's see. Let's see what happens. Thanks very much for joining me this week in John's Garage. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts underneath. I kind of need a lot of help on this one, folks. I'm not going to lie. I need a lot of guidance from hopefully people who've been there before. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.